In so many homes today, life feels like a constant buzz of activity. Phones are always ringing, laptops are open, and the TV is blaring in the background. Dinner? It's often just a quick refuel, with each person grabbing a plate and retreating to their own corner. Conversations are short, smiles are rare, and the dining table, once the heart of the home, sits empty. This was the reality for the Johnson family. They didn't even notice how far apart they had drifted, until one small moment changed everything. It was a Thursday evening, and chaos erupted over something as simple as a missing set of car keys. Blame flew back and forth. Dad insisted he'd left them on the counter. Mom was sure she hadn't seen them. The kids barely looked up from their screens. In the midst of the escalating frustration, no one noticed little Emma, quietly holding the keys, just waiting for someone to ask her. The argument eventually died down, but it left a bitter aftertaste, a feeling of being misunderstood and alone. It was a small crisis, but it was a powerful wake-up call for the Johnsons. It made them realize just how little they truly listened to each other anymore. That night, as the tension still lingered in the air, Emma's quiet voice cut through the silence. "Can we try eating dinner together? Just for 1 week, no phones, no TV, just us?" Her words seemed to hang there, surprising everyone. Her parents exchanged uncertain glances, and her older brother let out a groan. But Emma's hopeful eyes held a power they couldn't ignore. After a moment that felt like an eternity, Dad nodded. Mom agreed, suggesting they start the very next evening. No one was really sure what would happen, or if it would make any difference at all. But for the first time in a long, long while, the family made a promise, together. The first night was awkward. Sitting around the table felt strange, almost foreign. The silence was heavy. Dad tried to fill it by asking about school, and Mom commented on the weather. Emma did her best to spark a real conversation, but her brother just gave one-word answers, sneaking glances at his phone under the table. Old habits, it turns out, are incredibly hard to break. Everyone seemed restless, missing their usual digital distractions. By the second night, there were still a few grumbles and some awkward pauses, but something was starting to shift, however subtly. Mom shared a funny story from her workday, and suddenly, Dad admitted he'd accidentally burned his lunch, which made everyone chuckle. Caught off guard by the moment of shared laughter, Emma's brother actually joined in with a joke of his own. As the week progressed, the forced formality began to melt away. The family started to relax into this new routine. Stories began to flow more easily, and genuine laughter became more frequent. The invisible tension that had filled their home for so long started to fade. They weren't just eating in the same room anymore, they were sharing a space, sharing stories, sharing themselves. Slowly but surely, the Johnsons were rediscovering the comfort and connection they didn't even realize they had been missing so desperately. Then, midway through the week, something completely unexpected happened. During dinner, Dad grew unusually quiet. After a few moments, he finally opened up, admitting he'd been incredibly stressed about work and was worried he was letting the family down. The table went silent. Then, Mom reached across and gently squeezed his hand, her simple gesture saying everything, "We're in this together." Emma offered him a shy, supportive smile. Even her brother looked up from his plate, his usual sarcasm gone, and said he'd noticed Dad seemed tired lately. In that moment, the conversation shifted from superficial small talk to real, honest feelings. And for the first time, everyone listened, truly listened. That night, they didn't just talk about problems, they brainstormed solutions. They talked about sharing chores to lighten the load and even planned a weekend outing together. The walls they had built around themselves began to crumble, replaced by a foundation of understanding and support they hadn't felt in years. On the seventh and final night of their experiment, the Johnsons gathered around the table with a completely different energy. It wasn't forced or awkward anymore, it was warm, comfortable, and full of a newfound togetherness. As they finished their meal, Mom asked everyone how they felt about the week. One by one, each person shared something positive. They talked about feeling less stressed, laughing more, and the simple joy of feeling truly heard. Emma beamed with pride, seeing the incredible change her simple idea had sparked. Without any hesitation, Dad suggested they keep the tradition going, and this time, everyone agreed enthusiastically. What had started as a simple, one-week promise had blossomed into a cherished family ritual. The Johnsons realized that by intentionally making time for each other, they had found the very connection they had all been missing. The Johnsons' story is a powerful reminder that even the smallest changes can heal the deepest divides in our relationships. In a world that is so full of distractions, it's incredibly easy to drift apart from the people who matter most, often without even noticing it's happening. But by making a simple promise to spend intentional time together, no phones, no interruptions, just genuine presence, a family can rediscover laughter, find understanding, and build a powerful support system. For the Johnsons, the dinner table became more than just a place to eat. It transformed into a sacred space for sharing, listening, and growing closer with every meal. If you've ever felt that distance growing in your own family, maybe it's time to try your own dinner table promise. You don't have to commit to forever. Just start with 1 week. See what happens. You might be surprised by the transformation that can unfold. We'd love to hear from you. Share your own experiences with reconnecting with loved ones in the comments below. Your story could be the inspiration someone else needs to take that first small step. Because sometimes, the smallest step can lead to the biggest, most beautiful change. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that inspire connection.